Oh hi, it's been a while. Today we have some unexpected then and now photos and we're going to start on Dog Bank in Newcastle. Or if you want to be a little bit more spooky, this back part is actually called All Hallows Lane. Either way, here we see it in the 1800s. And this is it now, but there's something missing. And it was what came between these two photos, which was this. This was the Salvation Army's men's palace, and it stood here for a long time. Here it is, before the Tyne Bridge was built, in a rare aerial view. It was a men's hostel of sorts, where men could stay very cheaply, for work, when between houses, or maybe when you've been let out of prison. So what happened? Well, someone set it on fire, it burned down, and 4 people were killed. After the fire, the site was cleared and modern housing was built, which is what you see now. So, next one. What is this? It's part of the town wall. But the question is, where is this? Well, I'll tell you. So, you've probably heard of Newcastle Brown Ale, and that ties into this story nicely if you have. Newcastle is the city that never sleeps because it drinks. And once, perhaps this was true, because beer was brewed on site 24 hours a day for an awfully long time in Newcastle, and this required lots of brewery space. And that is why we see part of our ancient town wall going into the side of a building, because lack of brewery space meant that in the mid-20th century, every bit of city centre real estate they could get their hands on was required. And they literally built a brewery around the town wall. And this brewery was massive. It dominated the quayside. There is no sign of it there today. However, in this still from the great 1970s film Get Carter, you can see it on the skyline, right behind Carter, aka Michael Caine. But eventually, the city centre wasn't enough, and they had to move the brewery to Gateshead, and then Newcastle Brown Ale was no longer made in Newcastle, and today isn't even made in the northeast. It's made in Yorkshire, which in my opinion is the Midlands. So a bit of sense returned and the brewery was knocked down and the town wall was restored. And here you can see before and after. So this one, St James Hall, is, as you may guess or remember, was the hall that was across the road from what is now St James's Park, the football ground. Here it is from a slightly different angle with the Strawberry Pub in the distance. And here is what that location looks like now. This was also one of the filming locations for Get Carter, and here you can see Carter outside it. But this photograph has a bit of a darker turn, when on the 31st of January 1958, after the previous night's wrestling, a cleaning lady arrived to clear up after the previous night's festivities. Upon going to clean underneath the boxing ring, she found a dead body. The body of Gordon Lockhart, who was only 15, murdered and mutilated, and hidden there the night before. He was killed by Albert Matheson. Matheson claimed he had killed him to take £35 out of his pocket, which would have been about £500 in today's money. Matheson had beaten him with a bottle and a hammer. Matheson was known to be a pervert, and his defence at court tried to argue that 1. He had the mental age of a 10-year-old, and 2. He had an abnormality of the mind, and he didn't know that he was doing anything wrong. In his summing up, the judge said that his perversion was not an abnormality of the mind, but an abnormality of his morals. After an absence of 65 minutes, the jury returned a verdict of capital murder, and the judge sentenced Matheson to death. However, this was later commuted to life imprisonment. Things get a bit more light-hearted now, so where's this one then? I'll even let you have the street name in this angle. It is Eldon Street, also known as Eldon Lane. And without the street name, this was a tricky one for us to identify. It was not only the breweries that had an explosion of popularity in the mid-20th century in Newcastle, it was also, and some might say not coincidentally, students, education and universities. And Durham University, which was also partially based in Newcastle, wasn't enough, and there was going to have to be a new university. So, in 1963, King's College Durham became the University of Newcastle upon Tyne. And once again, that required space. So, Eldon Street had to go. You can see it from another angle here, and the university once again completely takes over the spot. Here's an old aerial view before the Civic Centre was built, and you can see it off to the left. And then here's one with the Civic Centre, and you can see it's been partially demolished. Here's a view of it from the university itself, while it was being built, of the last of the street going, although they did save those two houses at the end. And finally, just a little local one for near where I live. This is the old coach house in Summerhill Square. And as you can see here in the 1960s, it was looking very worse for wear. And indeed, this was taken while the demolition crew was working on it. However, one of the neighbours that was passionate about Georgian houses didn't see this area want to be demolished. And he went down and bribed the demolition crew to stop for the day. And in the following few days, he negotiated to save the building. And here it is today, restored and beautiful, and almost certainly out of all of our price ranges. Not bad considering they used to change hands for about £600 when the original photo was taken. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and as always, if you want to support this channel, don't donate to my Patreon in this case, donate to the Archives Patreon, which I've linked down below. Thank you for subscribing if you have done so, approaching 1,000 subs, so probably have a special video for that. I should probably go outside in this sunny weather and take some photos to prepare for that. So, see you next time. P.S. If you want to see the then and now of the preview image for this, check out my Climbing the Church Tower video. You'll find it in there.